We're going to get started with Arnie Stapleton with the Associated Press. Arnie, your line unmuted. Please state if your question is for John or Vic. And we're ready.
Okay. Hey, John. Number one, were you surprised that you didn't have to move up to get Jeudy? And in your eyes, what makes Jeudy the cream of the crop of this really deep class of wide receivers?
Well, I think first of all, yeah, I mean, it was obviously with all the mocks, he got there sometimes. So, I mean, we thought it was 50-50 whether he would get there or not. So, we were actually surprised both of them got there, CD as well as Jerry. So, but, I think that what we liked about Jerry was the fact of his route running ability, his speed, be able to plant his foot, get out of a break, the experience that he has, and obviously playing in the SEC and the impressive production that he's had. And we met with him in Indianapolis and really liked him and liked his mentality of what, he thought about the game of football and how he wants to attack the game of football, and it's important to him. And so, it was very close, but we're glad that we had an opportunity to pick, and Jerry was our guy from the get-go.
Next, we've got Ryan O'Halloran for the Denver Post. As a reminder, please state if your question is for John, Vic, or both. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, John and Vic, one for each of you. John, how seriously did you guys have any talks about trading back into the first round late tonight? And also, Vic, how does Jerry potentially stress defenses as a rookie?
Well, first of all, we did try to get back in the back end, and there wouldn't people didn't want to fall back as far as we were, so we couldn't get back into. So there was some attempt to get back in, but we're unable to do it. So we're happy with where we are. We got 4 picks tomorrow, so we'll see how things go.
Right.
And then Vic, how much can Jerry stress a defense?
Well, I think anytime you get a receiver that's hard to cover, that stresses a defense. And it's as simple as that. And we think he's hard to cover. And once he does catch it, he can run pretty good with it after it. So it's as simple as that. Can you cover him or not?
Next, we've got Eric DeLalla with DenverBroncos.com. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, John, just wondering how you kind of evaluated whether Jeudy was the right pick there or whether the depth at receiver meant that taking another position at 15 made sense.
Well, believe me, we had about a week straight of discussions on that exact topic right there. So obviously there's a lot of good football players at 15, but you know what I think, and the depth at wide receiver, no question, had it. But I think when it came down to it, and Jerry, who we had is our top-ranked guy, when he fell to us there, he was our guy. But we had those discussions, and I think that if it had fallen different, who knows how it would have gone. But I think we definitely were talking about it all week, and for the last 3 or 4 days, especially when we talked about the strategy and what our strategy was going to be with the draft. So. We're just glad Jerry was there, and we didn't have to make the move of going back.
Next, we've got James Palmer from the NFL Network, followed by Lindsay. James, please state if your questions for John, Vic, or both.
Hey, John, this one's for you. First off, kind of 2 parts. One, just how many mocks did you have Jerry land into you at 15? And how did you know to be confident with Jerry's knee? Did you guys do any extra work on knowing that wouldn't be an issue picking him?
Well, all the information we had, when it comes back down to his health, all the information that we had, and then Greg and his crew, Steve Antonopoulos and Vince Garcia, our training crew, they do extensive work on everybody, and we felt very comfortable with Jerry's knee and where he was, and so that was not an issue. And so. And I'm forgetting the other part of your question.
How many of your mocks did you have Jerry land into you at 15?
It came down. It was probably less than 50%. I think that when you look at it, was he was there a couple times, but we really kind of worked off our mocks with him not being there, and in the situation that if he wasn't there, which direction would we go? So it was a lot less than the 50%, and so that's why when he was there, we were thrilled that he was there.
Next, we've got Lindsey Jones, The Athletic, followed by Jeff Legwold from ESPN. Lindsey, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi guys, this can be for, I guess, for both of you, but maybe starting with John. First of all, it was a pretty strong flex to have the 3 Lombardi trophies on the table in your draft room. And then how did the communication go overall, working with each other, communicating with the league? And was there anything that you maybe took away from this unique draft experience?
Well, I mean, it actually went pretty smooth. We had a little hiccup before. I think Vic's internet went out or almost went out early, so there was a little bit of a hiccup there. But other than that, it actually went pretty smoothly. And I think as everybody got more comfortable with it, and with the trade talks, different people that were calling, I think people got more comfortable with it. So it actually went, rather smoothly, and so there was no hiccups. And then I forgot your last question.
Oh, I guess if Vic could maybe address from your end, how did you solve the internet issue? And
about 5 minutes before the draft started, everything went out in my house. Not the power, but all the internet. My TV wasn't working. Everything froze up. And Russ Trainer, who's our IT guy here, he was in a little bit of a panic. And luckily, there was some Comcast guys came and they got it fixed in about 5 minutes, but everything froze.
We've got Jeff Legwald from ESPN.com, followed by Les Shapiro. Jeff, go ahead.
I got one for each of you. John, were you involved in the talks in the trade in front of you? Were you talking to the 49ers when the Buccaneers made the trade as well? And were you worried at that point Jeudy might not be there after that deal?
No, I had talked to John Lynch earlier in the day, and so he said he had some different things going on. So when he said there's a trade, we figured that there was somebody coming. We didn't realize it was Tampa until they announced that it was Tampa. But we really kind of suspected that Tampa was coming for an offensive lineman, with Worst being the last one available. And then once they did that, we felt very comfortable that whether we didn't know if Jerry was going to be there or if CD was still. We knew one of those two were going to be there. So I didn't know what San Francisco was going to do. So we're thrilled that, like we said, we had an opportunity to make our choice of those two.
And Vic, I'm just curious: are there corners tomorrow that you like in your scheme?
There are a pretty good amount of them, all of different flavors and different rounds you'd like to get them in. But yeah, there's some corners available.
Next, we've got Les Shapiro, followed by Andrew Mason. Les, go ahead, please.
Hey, John, I think you touched on this a little bit. If you wouldn't mind going a little deeper, though. In your phone call to Jerry Jeudy to let him know that you were taking him, you made it sound like he absolutely was the guy you had marked. Was he that guy? And then for both of you, if Kinlaw had dropped, if San Francisco didn't take Kinlaw and he was there for the asking, would that have made your decision more difficult?
Well, I think Jerry was the number one guy on our board list, and so that's why for him to be able to fall there, and CD was number 2. So for us to be staring at 15 to sit there and look at the top 2 needs on our board, or the top need on our board, and we have our top 2 guys that are still on the board. Well, obviously we felt very comfortable with it, so felt good about the opportunity there. Jerry, we really like his ability to run routes, what he's done, his ability to get downfield, and he does a nice job after he catches the football also, like CD does. So, they've been very productive and very competitive leagues, and with Alabama and the SEC, and so that's why we felt really good about the fact that we were able to get Jerry.
And then the Kinlaw question.
Well, no, I did. I think that we were focused on wide receiver to see what was going to happen there, and then we had another position that we were focused on, but Kinlaw was not in our plans.
Thanks.
Guys, we've got time for a few more. Next, we'll go to Andrew Mason with DNVR.
John, how do you feel about the talent level, what's left on the board tomorrow, and are there any round 1 grades left on your board heading into tomorrow?
No, they're not. There aren't. But, we feel like at 46, we're still going to get a very good football player. There's a lot of good football players left. And, being the 14th pick tomorrow in the second round, we feel like we're going to get another really good football player. So but we're looking forward to that. And like I said, there's still a lot of good football players left.
Next, we'll go with Brandon Cristal, KOA. Brandon, go ahead.
I guess this can be for both of you guys, but John, I know you talked about how nice it is to not have to worry about quarterback. I asked you at the combine about it. How nice is it to be able to go to sleep after round one and just by having that position set for now to know that you can go still a bunch of different directions?
It's a big weight off my shoulders and our shoulders. I think that obviously that was a position of need for us. And not only we needed that position, we needed that to make Cortland better too, because, as we saw at the end of last year, they were trying to take Cortland out of the game. We know what a great football player he is. And so adding somebody, not only because it was a need, we needed somebody, but it's also going to make Cortland that much better too. So it was, it's nice to be able to go to bed tonight with knowing that we got the receiver that we coveted, and then we got a big day tomorrow. We got 4 picks tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that.
Guys, we've got 2 more. We'll go with Zach Stevens, followed by James Palmer. Zach, go ahead, please.
John, did you consider trading up for Jeudy, and at what point did you realize he was going to fall to you?
We didn't know. I know we had talked to certain teams, and we discussed whether it was worth going up. And we just kind of decided that we were going to sit where we were. We felt like we're going to get a very good football player no matter what. We had several plans of different scenarios that came because of our mocks and that we'd gone through. So we felt like we're going to get a very good football player at 15. Obviously, a wide receiver was our number one goal, and it fell that way to where we were able to get that. But we had other plans too, that if things had gone a different way, we felt like we're still going to get a football player there. So we talked about trading up. We looked at like what it would cost us to go up. But at that point in time, figured that, we like where we are with our picks, and, we can continue to add football players that help us. And so we decided to stay at 15.
And last one, we've got James Palmer, NFL Network. Go ahead, James.
Vic, I'm curious from your defensive mind, how do you look at when you guys are evaluating these top receivers, and do you look at it in terms of how you would stop them or how difficult they are to stop? And then also when a team has 2 really good top flight receivers, what is that like as a defensive coordinator preparing for that?
Well, I did do a lot of watching of the wide receivers in this draft, and when I was watching them, that was the lens I was watching them through, as a defensive coach, as to who was hard to cover, who would cause problems, who do you think you'd have to, give guys help to. So that was the lens I was watching all these receivers through. And I think it's a good lens to watch through, when you're evaluating a receiver, because, there's a lot of receivers out there, but, there's only about a third of them or less, scare you that you have to give them special attention. So that was the lens I was watching receivers through. And I forget, what was the other question?
Just as a defensive coordinator, what it's like to prepare when you have 2 receivers that would maybe need extra attention. What's the difficulty of that?
Well, it obviously becomes a more stressful situation. The more weapons an offense has, whether it be multiple receivers, a tight end, running backs, a quarterback that is a good quarterback and moves too, the more of those that you have to defend, the harder it is on a defense. So we're looking to make our offense a little bit more stressful for people to defend.